What up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. It is your host, Emocentric Shouty, and today we're gonna get right into this topic. We're gonna talk about Andrew Tate and the comments he made on a podcast that were just so disgusting about how to discipline your woman. Okay, so let's listen, and then I'll give you my commentary.
Do you know what girls are more scared of than losing a man they like? They're more scared of having the man they like, but he doesn't like her. So what will happen if I put a girl in those kind of scenarios and she doesn't act right or doesn't make the right choice? What I will do, instead of actually getting rid of her, I'll keep fucking her, but I'll fuck her different. So instead of, there's no kissing anymore.
You understand? You understand? You understand? She's gonna feel it different.
Yeah.
And afterwards she's gonna be like, you don't love me anymore, do you?
Where's this going? You threaten intimacy.
Yeah.
You threaten intimacy.
And she's gonna get, it's no longer intimate on any level. She got fucked. And then afterwards she'll be like trying to give me a hug. I'll be like, oh, wait, I've got to go out. And I'm gonna change on such a small level, that will hurt her more than even losing you. The reason guys can't do that is because if they fuck a bitch again, they fall back in love with a pussy. I won't do that. But there's been scenarios where a girl hasn't acted quite right over something small, not a big...
Like, nigga, how many Red Talk tables have you been watching? How many Red Talk tables have you been watching? Because, like, literally the only people I hear doing that hard is Jada, Willow, Will Smith, and Gammy. Like, those are, like, the only people. And I think people have watched their shows so much that they just start doing that thing. Am I the only one who, like, have you not met people that do that? And you're like, you must be watching Red Table Talk.
Where a girl hasn't acted quite right over something small, not a big transgression like cheating. Then I continue to see her, but my demeanor towards her changed. And my demeanor towards her didn't change much in day-to-day life, right? But it changed when we had sex. And she smelt it and she could feel it. And it hurt her bad. And she got her ass in line fast. He used to kiss me. He used to hug me afterwards. These small things. You go to just.
But why would you hurt someone bad based on something that wasn't even that big of a deal? Like you said, it wasn't even cheating, right? So why would you try to hurt them so bad? Like, I'm trying to, like, understand that. Like, shouldn't the pain be equal? Like, if she's making you feel terrible, then you make her feel terrible. If she makes you feel annoyed, you make her feel annoyed. If she makes you feel... Like, wouldn't it be equal? Why does it have to be like, well, she didn't cheat on me, but I'm going to still hurt her real bad? Okay.
From all that nice shit to just fucking her like she's... But not in a good way like she's nothing. In a bad way like she's nothing. The real G's know what I'm saying here. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
And you'll speak to this about... It's because... how do you feel about this so far?
So... When I hear that, all I hear is a man trying to dominate and impose his beliefs and his needs and his insecurities on someone else. Like, it sounds like a man who's like, I have nothing else to offer this woman, and I mean, she clearly, whatever I do offer her isn't really it. So I'm going to punish her by using sex. And men complain all the time about how women use sex to punish them. And so, like, for me, it's like, if she did that to you, like, if she was punishing you through sex, like withholding or not being, not being enthusiastic, none of that stuff, then that makes sense for you to be, like, not as enthusiastic in bed and not as thrilled, but to have aggressive, because in my head, it automatically goes to that scene where, what's her name? I don't know if you guys seen the movie O. It's with Mekhi Phifer, Julia Stiles, and some guy called Michael. I don't remember, like, he's super adorbs. They were in this movie, and in this in this scene, Mekhi Phifer is having relations with Julia Stiles, and he's very, very aggressive to the point where she's like, get off me. Her eyes are watering. She's not enjoying it. It's becoming very aggressive, and just probably the actual penetrative part of it, I mean, as in depicted in this movie, was not feeling good. Like, it's painful. So to me, that's borderline grape. Like, that's borderline grape to me. I can't say the R word, so I'm gonna say grape. That's what it is. You know, when a woman is saying stop, or I don't like it, or you're noticing she doesn't like something because her body's reacting to it that way, then that's not okay. This guy, Andrew, is gonna get so many guys arrested. That's what he's gonna do. Because women are gonna, just because you're in a relationship with this girl doesn't mean that she can't take back her consent mid-sexual encounter. Just because you're dating her and you bought her a new bag, or you guys just went to dinner and now you brought her to your house and she sits on your couch and eats your popcorn, doesn't mean that you get to do that because you felt slighted. It comes from I really believe it comes from a place of not knowing how to walk away and having poor conflict resolution. Like, if you're having problems with somebody and you need to, like, if you're dating someone, and in this case, if Andrew, you, whatever, you're dating a person that has shitty ways of treating you and shitty conflict resolution and is a bad communicator and is, you know, not enthusiastic about this, that, and the third, isn't fit, feminine, and friendly, okay, then kick her out of your life. Like, she needs to be out of your life. She shouldn't be kept along to then be psychologically damaged. Because here's the thing. A lot of people don't know what they're doing is wrong until someone tells them. And a lot of people, when they're in their 20s, because again, these are guys that are only hooking up with girls that are in their 20s, who are only interested in girls that are in their 20s who are models. These girls don't have that much experience. Just because a woman has boobs, hair, and makeup and knows how to look good on paper or in an IG picture, that doesn't mean that she knows everything there is to know about relationships. And you can't treat every woman the same. So doing that really just tells me you are sickly insecure. Like, literally, in the movie O, Mekhi was insecure the whole entire time. His name is Othello. He was insecure the whole entire time because everybody was trying to either get ahead of him with his girl or get ahead of him in the basketball game. It was always something that they were trying to do to jeopardize this man's future, or what he thought was his future, right? So to me, it looks like Andrew might have had a lot of people in his life that made him feel some kind of way, and he felt like he had to prove something all the time, even if it was at the expense of a woman's psychological health. Like, that is insane. Like, this is, like, when I hear what he said, I want to vomit. Like, my stomach churns. Like, I want to cry for the woman that's there. And yeah, he might say, oh, why would you? How he talks. Why would you cry? She wanted it. Like, you're psychologically messing with her. If this woman still messes with you, even after you did that, it's definitely like Stockholm Syndrome, bro. It's like she is stuck. And you're either making her self-esteem go down so bad that she doesn't feel like anybody else is gonna love her. Because if that's what you're doing in bed, what are you doing verbally? What all else are you doing? Listen, if you're the kind of guy that's getting this kind of content and you think that this guy is on the money, there are some things that this guy says make sense. But it's very surface value stuff that makes sense. Once it starts getting into intimacy, deep things like these things, and you're using manipulation tactics, forceful, aggressive tactics to get what you want, you're not that strong of a man. You're not. You're not. You're just not. And you're probably the kind of guy that wasn't getting attention when you were younger. You probably weren't. That's the truth. I don't care that you think, oh, well, you know, it's better to have chicks when I'm 19. Like, bro, most of the time, because I think you said you lost your virginity when you were like 19. So like, and you were I think he said that he lost his virginity when he was like 19. He was like having a conversation with one of these IG models, and he said that. And even with that being said, like, it really felt like he was almost like trying to say that to her, to be like, well, you know, at least I didn't have sex at like 13 or whatever, which makes sense. But at the same time, most of his content is really geared to hooking up and not even valuing the hookup, and understanding female nature, and then understanding what you want to do with yourself, navigating the world with women that, you know, aren't old school and have nothing to offer you and all this other stuff. And it's like, if you're really a great dude, you attract amazing women. But you're not even in that phase in your life. You're in the I want to hook up with everybody phase, or I want to hook up with whoever it is and be able to dominate and control them phase. So even if that woman came along, she was 23, gorgeous, a virgin, but she doesn't let you walk all over her, it's like you wouldn't want her. And a lot of guys are following in that footsteps. Like, they are looking at Andrew Tate and going, oh, well, here I got a good girl who, you know, wants me and all that stuff, but because she has a mouth of her own and can say no, or I'm not interested, or I have things to do, that, you know, means that they can't prioritize them right away, it becomes a problem. Like, to me, it's like, bro, you weren't prioritized, obviously, as a kid. Because if you were, you wouldn't be looking for women to prioritize you so damn much. For real. For real. A woman would already be down to prioritize you. And here's the thing. I'm seeing over and over, even videos on YouTube about guys talking about how, you know, they've had girls that are willing to give them a ride, that are willing to do this, they're willing to do that, and, you know, willing to help them through their careers and all this stuff. But then they'll say, but I don't even want this chick. I mean, I'll hook up with her, but, you know, I don't even want her. Like, are you hooking up with her so you could compete with your friends with how many bodies you got? Like, is that what it is? Because otherwise, you're just a user, and you're complaining about the women who will do the same to you if you're dealing with those kind of women. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's just, it almost reminds me of, like, this one time I remember I was hanging out with this guy when I was really young. We weren't hooking up. We were just platonic friends. And we had a good friendship. Like, I mean, at least I thought we had a good friendship. He basically, we were at a, I think we were downtown Orlando. We were in downtown Orlando, and we were walking, you know, next to each other. And, you know, I'm walking on the other side. So by the curb, he's walking on the inside of the curb. He's not my boyfriend or anything. I mean, usually, like, if you're my boyfriend, I'm going to look at you like, oh, you, sir, need to move me from there to here. Okay? But that wasn't the case. I was just like, whatever. We're walking, we're talking, blah, blah, blah. And a car passes by me, honks the horn. And he's like, hey, baby, I can buy you drinks. Let's go somewhere. And I'm just like, you know, like, oh my God. You know, the guy's in a really nice car too. So my male friend, he's like really just butthurt about it. Because we drove there in my car. He was like kind of butthurt, you know, because he didn't really have a car at the time and stuff like that. And he was like, God, I just wish I was a woman. And I was like, oh God, why? Like, we get periods. Society fucking slaughters us. Other women hate us. You know, we freaking, you know, we go through so much physical changes. That's not what you want. And he's like, if I was a woman, I would use guys. I would hook up with whoever I wanted to. I'd get free drinks, free this, free that. My life would be amazing. And I was like, that's what you think being a woman is about? What kind of girls are you dating? Like, what kind of girls? You know, because I didn't jump in that car with that guy. I didn't hang out with him. If anything, I was just like, man, that's fucked up. Like, if you see me standing next to that guy could be my boyfriend, you know? And I felt offended, whereas he was just straight up insecure and jealous. And then that night, like when we were at the club and guys kept coming up to me to come dance and, you know, buy me a drink, he was getting madder and madder and madder. Again, this wasn't a date. He wasn't taking me out. We just said we were going to go downtown and chill. And it was actually like his brother was meeting a girl downtown. And we were just kind of like going to hang around until like he was done with his date. And then we were going to go back home. It was like we were like low-key being like weird spy chaperones, whatever. So when he said that, it really made me think, how many other guys think this way? So I started asking men in my life, like, what would you do if you were a woman? Like, what would your life be like? And a lot of them said the same thing, which makes me feel like most guys don't really have high integrity. And I'm not saying that, you know, you don't have, you know, integrity if you've used somebody. Like, everybody at some point in their life has done something that they're not proud of, or like they've used somebody, or they lied to somebody, or whatever. I'm hoping that there's some people that haven't. But for the most part, most people aren't perfect, and they do stuff that when they're younger, they don't look or rationalize as wrong. And then they get older, they're like, okay, that was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? But that to me was like, what unsolved mysteries do you have going on? Like, what did you go through with women that makes you feel like if you were a woman, not only would you do that, but you'd get away with it? So that comes back to now this Andrew Tate stuff. Where did he get this idea that doing this to women is normal and okay? And granted, I told you that my friend told me that, you know, he was in a relationship with a woman who, my friend told me that he was in a relationship with a woman that did that to him. That, you know, when they were having problems in the relationship, stuff like that, she was cold in bed, she didn't really kiss, she didn't really, she just didn't show any affection. And I mean, to me, a lot of it, I think, is her knowing that they're not compatible, and she continues to choose to keep him around, and she knows that part of the deal is having intimacy, and it's something that she just really wasn't interested in. And so, you know, she just wouldn't kiss him, and she wouldn't cuddle, and she wouldn't be that loving person that she once was when they first started dating. But again, you know, why not leave, sweetheart? Like, why don't you just go? Like, if you can't at least show some type of tenderness if you're being intimate, right? So that makes me think that a lot of what is going on in these relationships is completely based off of image and insecurity. The image for Andrew is, I want to look like the kind of guy that satisfies every woman, who keeps every woman in line, and who just, you know, is one of the most sought out bachelors out there. That's the image he wants to keep. So that's why he has to use this kind of psychological manipulation on women. And then the insecurity is knowing that you're not. And, you know, sometimes people lie to themselves enough to make themselves believe that they think they got it. Like, they think they got it like that. Andrew does not got it like that. I've seen that nigga. He is not it. The way he walks, no. Like, there's no commanding presence in the way he walks. There's no commanding presence in the tone of his voice. It's so just basic. It's so basic. And again, it comes down to, like, if you have poor conflict resolution skills, and you know what, you could have very high conflict resolution skills and even still try to use these type of tactics. But why? If you have options, if you're the most sought out bachelor, if you're sexy, if you're intelligent, if you're so high value, women of value will not slip. They will do everything and anything not to slip in your eyes. At least in the first fucking 5 years or the first couple of years, they will do anything not to slip. That's within the context of you making them feel like they're safe enough to be with you. But when they're safe enough to be with you and then you do something like this, you pull something like this, that's sicko stuff. Real sicko stuff. I'm scared because I feel like, for real, this type of content is going to seep into the minds of so many young men. And young women are going to watch this and be like, wow, I could be in a relationship with a guy who seemingly is doing everything that, you know, a husband, a man that would love me would do. And then out of nowhere, he does this. Like, again, you know, people when they're young, they do not, because again, he's into 23-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 18-year-olds. These women don't have enough life experience to know the kind of things they're doing in relationships are wrong sometimes. For real. Sometimes it's even who you're dating, like from a different culture. They may be doing things that just in your culture, it's a big deal. And in their culture, it isn't. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, you guys. What's your opinion on this? Because it drives me mad because women are going to see this. It's almost, it makes me cringe so bad the way that story of Chris Watts, the guy who annihilated his whole family. It's like, that's the feeling it gives me. It's like you go through this guy's pictures. He looks like such a loving, doting husband and father. And yes, everybody has their speculations on the situation and Shannon and all that stuff. But when you see the kind of soul he seemed to have, why do I sound like I'm doing a poetry session? Listen, the vibe that gave me, the vibe Chris Watts gave me was just like, how do you go from that to that? How do you go from a guy that I trust, that I think we could talk about things, to a guy who takes my life and takes everybody else's in my life? Like, what? That's the energy Andrew Tate gives me. If you're not the carbon copy of the woman he wants you to be, he will absolutely hurt you. And it starts with psychological. After that, ain't no telling what he would do. So you know what? I advise girls to even be more selective, because these nice guys, these good guys, they aren't safe either, because they're getting this content and they're thinking, you know what? Let me try this. And they try it, and then it really backfires on them. I'm telling you, because I know that this content backfires on guys. I've met enough guys that have used red pill content and rhetoric that Tate regurgitates. Okay? Tate regurgitates. They've used it, they've applied it, and it hasn't worked. The only time it's ever worked is if the woman is so dumb and not self-aware that she really doesn't feel like, or she just doesn't have better options, and she feels like, you know what, I just need to follow this nigga's lead until I find somebody better. Because there's ain't no way no conscious woman stays with a guy like this. There's no way. He said I'd keep her. So I guess he ghosts them or breaks up with them after he does this kind of stuff. But you know what? I have no respect for someone like him. A person that does this to women needs to be locked away. Just locked away. This is what fucking got him canceled. You know, everything else he was saying, I didn't care. I literally didn't care. like all the other shit, I literally did not care about all the other stuff he said. But when he said that, he fucking crossed the line. You crossed the line there, buddy. And there's no going back from that. And there's no forgiveness on my end. Because what you said was fucking deplorable. And yes, I'm using the F word a lot because I'm just, that's all you can say to that. That's all you can say to that. It is so like, it's deplorable. It's deplorable. It's so bad. There's no forgiving you for that. Like, there's just no, there's no way. Like, if I see you in public, sir, if you were in the desert and you needed water, and I just so happen to have a nice Fiji bottle in my hand, I would rather pour it for my dead homies than to give you a drop. How's that for psychological abuse? Anyways, let me wrap this up. If you want more of this kind of content, let me know. Leave your comments or like, share, subscribe, DM me, and yeah, I'm out of here.